You write in the book that being an escort was more rewarding than being an Olympic runner. How is that?
You know, at the time, I had a split personality. So I developed this personality, this persona, and her name was Kelly. And Kelly wanted to live on the edge. She wanted the extremes of life. And she saw nothing wrong with whatever she did. And I saw escorting is the biggest high I had ever entered. I was immediately drawn to everything about it. The craziness, the shopping, the money, the lifestyle. It just sucked me in, and I didn't realize that my illness was feeding off of this.
Yeah, explain the illness. It was, well, you were bipolar, but you were not diagnosed as that.
Right. At that time, I had depression is what I was diagnosed as. It was misdiagnosed. I actually had bipolar, but we didn't know it at the time. I was prescribed Zoloft. And Zoloft, one of the effects, if you're bipolar, is a heightened sexuality.
When you talk about it as a disease, it sounds scientific. But how hard is this to relive and to talk about now that you've written the book?
You know, it's been a 2-year process in writing the book. And that was very, very difficult, very therapeutic at the same time. But now I'm reliving everything again. And that's been very difficult for me. I've had many ups and downs. I feel like this is a trigger all over again. So you have those days that are bad. So I think once the media is all done and I can go back on to my normal life and get back into my routine, which is crucial for somebody with bipolar, that things will settle down and I will eventually get to a point where I can move on.
Yeah. When you were first outed, what was the feeling? Was it a sense of relief? Were you worried for your family? What first came over you?
It definitely was not relief. I was angry. I didn't want to be taken out of this world that made me feel so good. And again, that was the mania that it was fueling. But looking back, I see that as this man actually saved my life.
You feel like you would not be living now if you were still working in the sex industry?
Absolutely.
And why is that?
Because I was having to take this behavior to another level. I had to heighten the ante. I had to make the high even grander. And I told myself when I got into the escorting that I would not do drugs. It was kind of this rule I set for myself. But then drugs started to creep in and I thought I'll just try it once. And then once leads to twice. And the drugs definitely would have killed me.
Your husband knew that you were doing this, knew you were involved in this business. He has now stood by you, yet also was enabling you at that point. How do you reconcile that now with him?
You know, first of all, he is an amazing man. And to have stuck by me through all of this was the reason why I am healthy and I'm doing well now. Without him sticking by me, my life would be over. And I wouldn't have a purpose. I wouldn't have my daughter or my husband to live for anymore. He wanted to protect me. He wanted to save my reputation, was what he was thinking about all the time, is who do I tell? How can I say that my wife's an escort in Vegas? This is going to ruin her. So he protected, he did enable, but he tried desperately to get out. I wouldn't listen. I was so caught up in what was going to make me happy and feel good. And that's what I did. And I feel regret to this day. I feel so bad for the pain that I caused him.
Looking back on your Olympic career, there's a scene you describe in the book where you fell on purpose.
Yes.
But looking back, do you ever wonder what it would have been like to be an Olympic champion?
Absolutely. And you know, looking back on that, through all the therapy that I've had in the last couple years, it's been really fascinating that I look back on that day. If I would have won the gold medal, I truly believe this escorting would have never happened. That was my one focus my whole entire life since I was in 5th grade, that I wanted to be the gold medalist in the Olympics. I wanted to be an Olympian. And I had all my eggs in one basket. I had no balance in my life. My sport was everything to me. So when it ended on that note, I just felt like I had been a failure. And that was the point where my spiral started to happen and I started to go down.
Suzy, thank you so much for coming here and sharing your story with us. We appreciate it. Thank you.